Fellas, I just, I'll leave a window open for you guys, and I don't really. I mean, I have stuff to say, but I'll let you guys ask me the questions. What you want to ask, and we can just kind of open it up from there. Yep.
I think you were 16 of 46 inside the arc.
I'm sorry, say again.
I think you were 16 of 46 from inside the arc for the game, 34%. That seemed to be kind of the tail of the game. Just couldn't score inside, especially in the second half. They were blocking shots. And kind of what were they doing defensively to stop you guys around the rim?
I don't know if, honestly, I don't know if it's what they were doing. I just, we haven't been a good 2-point shooting team all season, to be honest with you. And you have to go strong. You gotta go not looking for contact. You gotta go looking to finish. And if the contact is there, you draw the foul. But you gotta go and you gotta try to go finish. Gotta try to go finish strong. And we just didn't do that. We didn't do that. And along with coming out in the second half and starting slow, it just kind of bled into everything that happened that last 20 minutes.
Coach, 6 consecutive losses. Just what do you think is the key to turning this thing around? What do you think needs to happen just to find that win, find that spark?
Well, first and foremost, we need a win. I think that we all understand that. But it's a loaded question. And I think that, more importantly, we gotta be better with dealing with adversity. I just don't think that collectively we're great at dealing with adversity. And so when you start with adversity, let me start with the first word, is being uncomfortable. So when you're used to being uncomfortable and you allow yourself to be uncomfortable, then you learn how to deal with adversity. And so we just haven't done that. And a lot of times, things are lost, and it's hard to unpack some of the things that happen when you lose, because the only thing we see is the final score, which is important. And you cannot diminish that, but the biggest thing is, we got to learn how to fight. We got to learn how to hit first. That was one of the first things I learned, in growing up. It's like if you get into a fight, right, and somebody walks up on you, you don't let them hit you first. And it's just like, to me, we just on our heels. We need someone on the court to galvanize the troops. It can come that way, but it can't always come from the sideline. And so the things that we need to do to be better as a basketball team collectively, at times, it doesn't have nothing to do with making or missing baskets. It's staying together and fighting through a little bit of adversity. Because when times get tough, we don't stick together all the time, and that, to me, is hurting us more at the end of the day. Obviously, again, yes, we need a win. We do. We need a win bad. But it's not going to happen just by falling in our lap, because when you need something, when you need a win, you got to lock in a little more. Can't grab a rebound with one hand, you got to grab it with two. You can't lunge for a ball that's on the ground, you got to dive for a ball that's on the ground. You can't short close on a guy and contest and don't get off the ground, if he's a three-point shooter. So, it's a lot of things, but I'm just going to start right there. It's the adversity part, and we got to figure that out. See, it's crazy as it is, it's still a lot of season left. It's a lot of season left, and, whatever happens, we have to be better through the adversity part.
I'm curious, just coming out of half, what were you thinking about how you guys could play, when the second half started?
Well, I thought we were in a good position. I thought we were in a good spot. We played well in the first half. But, we just, to me, they jumped on us. I thought offensively, and it compounds. We missed a couple at the bucket. Then I thought we took some questionable shots. And next thing you know, it's 11-0 run, And so you listen, when you're fighting the way we're fighting and our margin of error is not as big as others, you can't have those things happen. And, we just didn't do a good job, though, in those first 4 minutes.
When Steve was in here, he talked about the West Coast trip. They lost a game coming right off that. He said he felt like you guys would be a little tired coming off of that, and he told his team that they needed to take advantage of that. Did you sense any of that tonight from your guys, that they were a little ragged from the week out in California?
It was a long trip, but, I appreciate Steve for giving us that built-in excuse. But, the way I look at it is when you've been struggling the way we are, we got to find it. We got to figure it out. Like, that's a part of the adversity. You can either, cave in to, the different notions out there, or you can try to fight through it and do the things that you need to do to win a ball game. And I don't know. It's just we weren't the same team when we came out the dressing room. In the second half, we didn't have the same collective energy. We didn't have the same fight. And at times I just don't like the looks on our faces as well. But we'll deal with that, and we got to keep fighting. There's still a lot of games. We got 6 games to go. I think 6. So we got to finish this thing out the best way we can.
Randy, if you want to wrap us up.
The current climate where continuity is not what it was, quote, back in the day, where players maybe same place for 4 years, maybe 5 years. There's lack of maybe a leader emerging because they are in a program for a lengthy period of time. Does that affect this situation at all in general in college basketball, maybe, if not in particular with this roster?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it can. I don't think. For me, like to your point, I always want in-house leadership. You need leadership in that locker room. I don't think leadership always has to be from your best player. You like it to be from your best player, but it doesn't have to be from your best player. I think in the past, I think about a situation that I had, and I think that you got to have a lot of maturity when you're bringing guys together, because there's a short window, and so you get that short window, then you have to have guys that buy into everything, and so it's probably, to add to what you're saying, it's probably just as important to do. You got to do your homework on who you're bringing in, a little bit more. You got to dig, you got to vet the situation. And then sometimes in certain situations, you got to really listen to what people are saying, because, you have to figure out in a real short window, whether that's a fit for you or not a fit for you. But the one thing that the best leader I ever had was not my best player. And he transferred to me from VMI. And there was a lot to that in talking to him. And he, it's funny, the things that you stand for, it's the attention to detail. He made his bed up every morning. If you know VMI, you know VMI, right? He made his bed every morning. He did all the little things. And, he kind of stuck with me. When I left Pacific, he came with me. He actually came to Boston with me. He was with the Maine Celtics. He was with the G League team. Then he went to the Charlotte Hornets. There's something to that, but he was so mature, and so his balance and how he impacted the team by not being the best player, it was something that I'll take with me. you know, because it meant something to me. And the things that he valued, you know, other guys didn't value, but he knew how to get through to each individual, you know. And so if you got a bunch of guys that are coming from different places and they all want to be the man, like, that's not reality. You know, somebody has to be a role. Somebody has to play a role, you know, so.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.